Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Fragments of Loss, the Rangers of a Broken World game that we are having here on Sword and Key. My name is Angela Lemos Mogrovejo. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm going to be essentially your game master. I am conducting, managing the chaos, facilitating moments of mild emotional distress. Though today might be more than that, so we'll see. But in any case, it's a pleasure to have you, any of you who are tuning into chat, to watch our game. And also, yeah, God damn it, Mirm, don't you, don't you distract me? I swear to God. For those of you who are new here or who are just returning and need a quick little reminder, we are actually, as part of this series, raising money for Trans Lifeline. We are currently in an era of absolute fascist regime resurging. It's never entirely gone away, but it's getting much worse. And especially for those of us who are at the margins and at the intersections of those who belong to oppressed populations, it is even more important now to have resources available to us. And also, if you need even more of an incentive to give money, because money in general, helping, you feel good, you feel like you're donating to a cause, all that good feeling, yeah. But if you want to cause chaos, for me specifically, and help our players, we have a variety of different donation levels that allow you to affect the game. Our first session, I think our goal was supposed to be $100, and we are currently sitting at the not at all surprising $350 out of that amount. So, because people just showed up and were like, take my money, which, you know what? It's a good feeling. So, with that in mind, for anyone who's able to tune in and support, we appreciate you. If you can't, we understand. Any support you can give to helping revitalize and continue to encourage trans stories to be told, and queer stories and stories by folks of color, we appreciate that. So, with that out of the way, I want to give one other quick disclaimer before I do a quick poking around of everybody to do their intros. If you are someone who deals with issues related to dissociation, mental health crises, and or has experience with different elements of trauma, loss, or kind of upsetting memories suddenly being like light bulbs in your mind, this might not necessarily be the series for you. We do touch upon death and also environmental disaster every now and then, and so that is just an undercurrent of the series. And especially even within the mechanics are baked in elements of how the players show wear and tear is very much written in the playbooks themselves to be related to dissociation. So if you don't feel like you can handle that kind of thing, please feel free to step away or tune into something else. We understand your mental health is not worth supporting any show. But with that disclaimer out of the way, I'm going to go around on our overlay as we have some fantastic people returning and one face who is not here and has been replaced by a new one for a little bit of time. But we'll get into that soon. We're going to start with Gena, if you wouldn't mind introducing who you are, pronouns, and who you're playing, pronouns, and the playbook.
Hi, I'm Gina. I'm on this channel sometimes. I use she, her pronouns. I'm playing Adestia, who also uses she, her pronouns, and I am playing a windswept cavalier.
Fantastic. And we continue with the incomparable Mirm.
Hi everybody, my name is Mirm. I use she, they pronouns. Um, and today I will be playing Wea, who uses they, them pronouns, and is a volcanic tracker.
Fantastic. Next, the perpetually hilarious and occasionally, oh look, my heart is just caused to be hurt by them, Amber.
Hi, my name is Amber and I use she, they pronouns, and I am playing Azura, who also uses she, they pronouns, and she is a title navigator.
And now, sadly, we do not have our fantastic beckoning infiltrator here for 2 sessions. Sebastian is just taking some time off and is on vacation, will be gone for a little bit of time. But as thankfully, despite me checking in with them only a few days ago, we had available the ever fantastic Abhishek. Introduce yourself, why don't you?
Hi everyone, my name is Abhishek Patange. I was literally asked to do this 2 days ago while I was at MomoCon, so Angela, thanks for the invite. But I will be playing Azir, who I use he him pronouns. I'll be playing Azir, who also uses he him pronouns. And he is a wailing arcanist.
Fantastic. We are going to get into that so soon. But we got all the intros out of the way. We've got the nice little setup of just who our basic outline of our characters are. But let's get back into Fragments of Loss as we enter Session 3, Heavens Made to Scream. Do not be alarmed. Or, pardon me, a more proper way of putting it, be not afraid. But as we come back into this moment, our group of 4 different rangers who've mostly been adjusting to their new roles, their new travels, some of them no longer absolutely eating shit and smashing their faces open on a floating island. Some of them maybe still a little confused by how they managed to talk to a god right next to them in a giant crocodile form. Some of them still dealing with the sea and also what their larger purpose might be in the world. We are at Stageport, a rather thriving, bustling kind of port town that is pretty much home to a variety of different peoples, folks from all walks of life. You have folks who used to act with a certain nobility because at one point in time in the history of Amalta, they were nobles. And then you have other folks who are the more seafaring type, like our own curmudgeonly Virgil, who's not at all having some interesting feelings towards his boyfriend at the moment. You know what? We'll probably not even follow up that thread. My party is not the kind to ever just randomly go after an NPC that I made up in 30 seconds, and now I have to have an entire web of relationships. Right? Anyways, the group, having come to Stageport to investigate a lead regarding a mysterious, shadowy presence that, for Caladrineth, seemed to evoke strange, startling similarities to a beast that they encountered on their way to meet the Goddess of Revolution. The group found themselves locked in a crisis of a massive tortoise-like entity with all of its body parts that were visible made of steel and metal emerging from out of the beach side. Now, I say the parts that could be seen because the parts that are obscured seem to be wrapped up in this strange black and gray shroud of dark aether from which long, almost tentacle-like appendages have lashed out and nearly toppled one ship that was docked in the harbor. The group, upon seeing this, jumped into the fray to see what they could do about the matter, as they realized very quickly that wherever this being stepped, the very land itself was being deprived of life force and aether. So this is something that needs to be dealt with as soon as possible. The group has chosen to follow up with the possibility of redirecting this creature somewhere else. They have, based off of our notes from last time, managed to do 2 out of 5 successes needed to advance the goal of redirecting this creature. Many different methods have already been used to try and redirect it, and some of these have come at a great cost of nearly causing a full body, almost removal of sense of self for 2 of our party members. But one of them, upon attempting to glimpse even more of this tortoise metallic entity's psyche, has suddenly fallen unconscious. Caladrineth is seemingly out of the fray for a bit and may need some time to recover. But in the midst of all this, Azir, you arrived in Stageport maybe a few days ago. You've kind of been here, not entirely sure what you're doing here. You know that they who you serve, she is not always inclined to be the most directive beings. There is an element of constant cryptic nature to the way that the never tiring pursuers speak to you. And it was very similar. It was a very similar sort of vague and opaque nature to how they spoke to you that you heard them say just in the middle of the night that prompted you to go to Stageport. You heard them speak and say to you in a startling set of voices, because there is never only one voice, there are many voices for Agrippina. Heard them say, "The sea roils forth in anger. Such rage has been prompted by wounds of the past. Go to where many have found home amongst the shore, and see what terror and tragedy you can prevent." As you are rested from sleep, uncertain about what is going on, you know that you need to go to Stageport. And as you've arrived here a few days ago and have been wondering after 2 or 3 days, maybe I'm not going to get anywhere with this, you heard the crash of this tortoise entity landing on the shore. As you have arrived, basically think of it kind of like harbor docks kind of side, with a few spots extending out on a pier where like people are fishing, and this thing is slowly making its way, trying to crash through it. What do we see coming upon the scene? What would the rest of this group see? Describe Azir to us. Please unmute.
Yep. I think what the rest of the party would most likely see when they would first lay eyes on Azir is mainly the fact that a lot of him is mainly covered up by a long flowing cloak. This would mainly be comprised of a lot of earth tones, so browns, grays, and even a little bit of whites as well. Surprisingly, almost like a cloak fit for either a mountainous terrain or something of that nature mainly. But underneath the cloak, they would see a face with tanned skin, brownish, almost slightly golden eyes, and sort of flowing and sort of peeking out from around his shoulder would be long hair, sort of slightly wavy but intertwined with multiple braids throughout the parts that they can see at least. But as sort of flip his hood down, those who can see from the back at least would see a larger braid sort of tying most of his hair together for the most part. A fairly tall man in stature, slightly built as well, but a lot of that is kind of hidden by the cloak. But as he sort of rushes upon the scene, he's almost faintly out of breath, as if he's been just like almost mad dashing to get to this point after kind of hearing the crash that the tortoise made with the shore. So yeah.
All right. And this is the scene that you come upon. You were able to bear witness to one individual. Wea, I'm going to let you describe yourself, what you see. An individual who managed to seemingly just cause aspects of this tortoiseshell's shadowy shell to shift on one side and begin to almost tilt and crack at some spots, though the individual does seem a bit... Is it fair to say that took a lot out of you to try and do that?
Absolutely. I'm honestly kneeling because I'm just kind of trying to regain myself after all of that.
So Wea, what does Azir see coming upon the scene with you? So they see you kneeling. What do you look like?
So I'm kneeling, so I'm not as tall, but standing upright. I'm a very tall, femme-ish person. They have a t-shirt wrapped around their neck. They have like short cargo shorts on, like hiking-esque boots, which is a little weird for the area since there's a lot of beaches. They have very long black curly hair, and they're just absolutely tatted across their entire body.
The most buff nerd you've ever seen ever.
Love them.
So we see that, and looking up a bit towards the sky, what does Azir see riding upon the cloud elk Steve, that they have. What did they see when? What does he see when he sees a Destia?
So Odysseia is, despite being on a massive megafauna with wings, she is a very, very small person. She's like 4'11", very tiny. And she's got this like bright, like yellow-green cloak on with like embroidery, except it's like a little bit of a vibes dissonance because she is not at all a bright, she's like this giving this very like focused, almost gruff look, and she has this massive scar across her face, and she's her dark hair and also a really, really long braid that's probably most of her height. Yeah, I think that's what I'll stick with.
Alrighty, and last but not least, Azura. Uh, describe where you currently are on the shore and what Azir sees as he gazes upon, how do we describe, a fucking giant woman.
So Azura is standing on the edge of the coast. So like, like probably about knee deep in water, which is decent because she's got pretty high boots on, so it doesn't seem like she's getting her feet wet anytime soon. She is a self-described giant woman. She is just shy of about 6 foot tall and just broad, all the way down her body. She has one side of her head shaven down to just stubble, and the other side is this mass of sea foam and white hair, looking like the waves hitting the beach. um and she although is like wet from the spray of the water and like any like condensation that's come up because of this thing in the water, she looks so comfortable, which is the opposite of me. I hate being in wet clothes. So,
Mood. Mood. But so, Azir, as you run into this crisis, I'm going to ask you to do something that Keladrinith was able to do, and because this is still the first major crisis mode that we've all shifted into, and you didn't get to do this when we started it, I'm going to let you do it now. I want you to make a tactics roll and choose any facet that you would like. So just thinking about how would Azir be setting himself up to engage in this moment, choose a facet that you feel most appropriately describes how he would be taking this scenario, and then I'm going to have you roll. So, for context facets, daring, understanding, sensitivity, subtlety, and adaptability. So, depending on how you think you would approach the scenario. Make sure you're unmuted, dear. You are muted in Zoom.
I keep doing that to myself.
This is why I say it.
Yeah, that's true. I think for Azir in this sort of, I guess, chaotic situation that he's now found himself in, I think most likely he'd try to get at least some form of understanding, I think
Okay.
would be the best way. So yeah.
So this will be a tactics understanding roll. So if you have tactics, you would add that to your pool of dice. If you do not, then don't worry about it. You make a pool that's 1 die for every point in that facet of understanding. And then if you feel in this moment any motives within your key are relevant, add 2 dice to that.
Okay. Let's see. I do have tactics, so I think that's what, add 1 to my pool, I believe?
Yes, because we are in season 1. So add 1,
Gotcha.
add all the dice that you have in understanding, and then if you feel a motive applies, add 2 more, and then roll those and tell me what you get. I do not care whether you do digital or physical dice.
Physical.
I am indifferent.
That's fair. I think none of my motives will fit this one, so I'll go with a dice pool of 3. So
okay. So roll that. So what are your results?
So that is a 5, a 6, and a 1.
Okay. So you have two successes just clear. Those will be added to the pool of, I believe we had 6 from last time, so now we have a total of 8 in the pool. If you would like, that 1 is an edge success. You can add 1 additional success to the advantage pool if you're willing to accept something about your situation changing, not necessarily for the better.
Why not? Let's do it.
Okay. So Here's what I'll give you. You have not described what your familiar looks like because we have not fully fleshed them out yet. You
No.
see kind of a small, they would be, you would best describe them almost as an impish like creature if it weren't for these unnecessarily like long fingers and very bright, vibrant golden skin. They look as though someone was like, what if I make a demon out of metal? Like just pure unrefined gold, and someone animated it as your daemon familiar, Mammon, just sort of creeps over your shoulder. Hey, boss. What you thinking about doing?
Nothing that you need input on, Mammon.
I don't know. It seems pretty rough out there. Maybe we shouldn't get involved. I hear there's some good food somewhere else, 2 streets down.
I'm sure you would love that, wouldn't you?
What do you mean, would? I caught some for myself already. This is just a matter of if I can entice you to come get me some more. And you see, he currently has like, have you ever seen the like potato spiral things? You're not quite
Oh,
certain
yeah.
how he's hidden one of these on his person, but he just kind of pulls it out of nowhere, like he has a pocket dimension to himself. Hey, come on, come on. The complication I'm going to offer you is that if you try and use Mammon for your first thing on your turn, it will be a little bit more difficult. So
Okay.
essentially, you will need at least 1 additional success for whatever you're going to do to accomplish a goal if you try and advance it. Or he will get in the way somehow and ruin some of your successes. But you'll get a
Okay.
success now if you take it. Otherwise, Mammon will be in a mildly pranksterish mood.
Oh boy. I'll accept that bargain.
Okay.
Yeah.
You currently just have Mammon trying to poke you in your side with a long potato spiral. He's like, come on, come on.
Yeah. Also, I'm
What's
not sure
up?
if my crisis specialty activates at the time because I had strategist as my crisis specialty.
Yes.
So,
What is your
yeah.
crisis specialty? Let's take a look at that real quick.
Strategist. When you roll tactics to form the advantage pool, you contribute an additional success to it.
That just automatically applies. That is just a flat buff you gave the party. So you had the 2 successes that you rolled, the third that you got from accepting Mammon's going to continue to bother you, and a 4th just from your ability. So you have added 4 to the pool of 6. The party now has a pool of 10 in the advantage pool. Okay. You are all now able to take your turn. As a reminder, the way crisis mode works is that each of you gets a turn. Currently, the group has chosen to advance redirect. What this means is that on your turn, you can choose to either do something using a skill or magic to increase that pool even more, to basically make an auto success pool. The reason you would do this is that if someone else tries to advance a goal, so in this case, redirect, no matter what they roll, they can take from that advantage pool and make it an auto success. To advance the goal, you need to land 5 total successes. Make sense to everyone? Basically, you have 2 options on your turn and 2 options from those 2 options. Work for everybody? So, coming onto the scene, I think it makes sense to me that Azir, I'm going to let you have the first turn, if that works for everyone, just to bring Abhishek into the fray. So Azir, would you like to increase the advantage pool, or would you like to advance a goal?
I think I'd probably see if I can. Let's try and. I have to actually figure out something real quick. I'm so sorry. Let's try and
You're
see if
good,
we
you're
can
good,
increase
you're
the
good.
advantage pool then for now. I think.
Okay. The group has 10 right now. Depending on how well Azir rolls, this will increase the pool even more. So you are choosing to add to the advantage pool. What you can do now is you can choose either a skill, or if you want to try and cast a spell, we will add successes relative to either however much the scatter cost for the spell was, or the amount of successes you roll from your pool. That's how it
Okay.
works. So what would you like to do? Would you like to try and do something amongst your skill set, amongst all the different things that you already know that don't require sort of bending reality? Or are you willing to take on some stress and some duress to cast magic?
I think I'm going to actually I'm going to see if I can use one of my assist abilities if that would be allowed.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So I'm going to use my Wicked Advisor assist ability. So I think at the cost of 2 blur, I can have Mammon let me approach a problem from a different direction. So essentially, I'd probably see if I can use him to see if I can find any weak spots from this thing that's already been damaged. Essentially, that's probably what I'd be
Got you.
looking for.
Okay, so looking at this, the way that this works is that you try and make a roll, a skill base of any kind, and the demon, your little demon friend, should you want to re-roll it, you can spend 2 blur, and that will let you retry it using understanding or adaptability. So you don't need to
Okay.
spend it in order to do this right now. This would, if you're
Okay.
just trying to get
Later
a
on.
vibe or what you can do later on, you can basically use this. It's
Okay.
him going, fuck it, I'll help you kind of vibe.
Fair enough then.
yeah.
All right. That's fine.
Yep.
Okay then. I think in that case, I know I wrote this down somewhere. That's fine. In that case, I think I'll try to actually use some magic then in that case.
Okay, so this is going to be first time bringing someone else into this. So I want you, whatever you're trying to do in terms of magic, you have 1 spell note that you pick from your list and a terrain spell note. I will get you that terrain spell note. I believe we had doorway was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
We had doorway and shell, I believe, was the other one that we had established.
Doorway, cracked shell, jellyfish is what I wrote down.
Jellyfish was the third one. So you can pick from one of those 3 and combine it with one of your personal spell notes to make a phrase. That phrase will constitute what you are trying to do with magic.
We have cracked too.
Yes. So we have cracked, crab, jellyfish.
Doorway, cracked,
Doorway
shell,
cracked.
jellyfish.
Doorway, cracked, shell, jellyfish. Thank you.
Okay. Then...
So a lot of weird ones, but this system
Uh-huh.
wants you to try weird shit.
Right. All right. Then I think what I'll do is I will take. I know I have my list of spell notes here.
Yep.
I will take. I think. What was it a second ago?
Yeah.
There you are. I will take. I'll take jellyfish from the
From the terrain. Okay.
from the terrain,
That's one.
and I will use. I think I had one of mine is summoning.
You're summoning a jelly. Oh god, it just turned to Elden Ring right now.
Yeah.
Elden Ring fangs are suddenly like, wait, we've been summoned. Okay, so you are summoning a literal jellyfish. What is your intent? So this is the next part. What do you want this jellyfish to do?
See if it can. So I think what I'm hoping on doing is
Okay.
at least kind of probing. Mainly it's a lot of probing to see what this thing is, what this thing kind of makes it tick. Either does it take damage from this? Is it weak to anything in a certain area? It's kind of just. So I'm probably just gonna have it like try and sting this thing with as jellyfish do normally. So just see how
Okay.
it reacts.
Let's put that under the category of kind of a stepping stone to solving a problem. This doesn't seem too intense. This is more for information gathering. So I'll put this at a scatter cost of 2. If you agree with that amount and you're willing to pay it, then the spell will be successful and go through. If that's okay with you. Remember, you can do a max of 10. Once you reach 10 scatter, your character loses consciousness. So basically, you're kind of going against your own well-being to try and literally shift reality around you. If 2 is okay to you,
I think 2 should be fine. I'll accept
Okay.
that. Yeah.
the jellyfish is summoned. You all, the other 3 of you, by the way, you just watch as just kind of a massive jellyfish just appears just out of the ether. It's like aspects of the water and the remaining earth around it just coalesce, and you just see. It's the best way I can describe it. It's almost like if you ever seen when folks have to put the little nodes on people's bodies to do like
Mhm.
heart monitoring and stuff. It's almost like it's doing the fantasy equivalent of that. I'm going to give you some information about said being. So here's the deal. Your party, so this is just information that the party has had that I'm going to give you anyways. The party has witnessed that this thing can attempt to prevent certain spell notes from being accessed amongst its abilities, and other things can cause them to gain scatter. Its deadliest ability is known as Lament of Ages Past. This thing, whatever its intention you're able to derive, which right now it seems like it's working off of a mix of just it has a directive, which is pull aether from the ground, and also it sounds like it's in pain, but the pain's not its own. It's like it has a ball of memories that don't make sense to it because it doesn't understand what it's like to have a memory. If it uses Lament of Ages Past, nobody until the start of the next turn can advance a goal using daring or adaptability. So that is an ability you will need to watch out for. So that is what your character would know. You know that this thing, whatever it is, it's acting based off of a command, but it also seems to have other intentions that it itself doesn't understand. So, Azir, that is your turn. Who is next?
I would like to go.
All right. Would you like to increase the pool? And that was 2 scatter costs, so that was 2 more to the pool. The pool is a total of 12 successes right now, folks. Azura, what would you like to do? Would you like to increase your advantage pool, or would you like to try and advance a goal?
I'm gonna try to advance the goal.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try to do it by casting a spell.
Okay. Here we go. More magic. What are you trying to create?
So I would like to use the terrain note cracked and then my
Okay.
personal spell note singing. So my goal is to just like let out a a note that is not in tune in an attempt to distract or break the concentration of the automata creature.
Okay. So that is your intent. So are you trying to prevent it from doing something like acting at all, or what is your, so is it just distraction so it's unable to do something with its abilities? What is your goal with this?
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's like it's more of like a break concentration. So it's like whatever it was going to do, it's like, what was I gonna do again? Like
Okay. I will say this. That's a large step towards a large problem.
Mhm.
I'd probably put this anywhere from 4 to 5 scatter.
I'm cool with that.
Okay. Are you good with 4 scatter?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh
So if you're okay with paying that amount, that
yes.
spell will go through. It is a, so describe it. It is a discordant note, you said, essentially.
Yes, so she you know, Ariel in The Little Mermaid, she's like ah, and it's like beautiful and it like comes out like I imagine like a music would, right? Like you see the like music starting to like come out, but then it starts to, you know, in like cartoons when the notes are bad and they get all squiggly and like broken, that's what it starts to be like. And it's like that song, but it's like very jagged and like breaking, and it's like plinking against the like automata, like a not like in harm, but like annoyance almost, like someone
You,
singing a song incorrectly on purpose.
yeah, you watch in doing that. So let's see. Advancing a goal. So I'm gonna need you. Yeah, I need you to roll for that one if I'm correct in this. Yeah. Yeah, this is the only part with casting spells where it's not entirely clear if they need you to roll for it. I'm gonna say you do so that we know how many successes you've
Okay.
reached from that. Oh, but wait, they do it off of scatter. So you know what? I'm gonna make it. I will probably ask Leon for clarification later. The way I'm gonna
Okay.
do it is that the scatter will act similarly to how it does with advantage pools, where you've
Okay.
taken 4, you still
Yep.
need one more of some kind to fully reach the redirect goal of 5. So if you're willing to spend one from the pool, which you have a pretty big enough
Yes,
pool,
there's 12, right? So it'll go
yes,
down
so
to
go down to
11.
11. So it goes down to 11. You do that. The goal is now advanced to 3 of 5. You are watching. You all hear it. It's unpleasant to you, but it's even more unpleasant to this being. You watch as the shadowy aether shroud begins to form all across the edges of it, almost like faces of different people who are like pulling their faces back in agony at hearing the sound. This will lock out one of its options for actions on its turn. This was a big cost for you. It locks out a big thing. Wea or Adestia, do either of you want to go next? If you are talking, Mirm, I cannot hear you.
I can go.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm trying to remember how not to use spells because I'm so close to passing out. But I do have a skill in long range weapons, so I want to try to physically
Yeah, this would just be a
distract it.
skill. Are you trying to advance a goal with
Yeah,
this?
I'm trying to
Okay.
advance the goal.
So
Yeah.
it's same kind of deal with the spell. The idea is that you roll and we track the successes from there,
Okay.
and then we see if you need more from that,
Yeah.
from the advantage pool in order to meet the goal.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. So I feel like it's a seaport town and there's been a lot of wars and things. So what I'm kind of hoping is that there's kind of a mounted harpoon gun nearby. If you'll allow.
uh you know what? I'm gonna allow it for this one, but I think just this one time.
Oh,
It might be
absolutely.
more that there are folks who are planning to go out to sea to try and hunt for something, and you do
Yeah.
spot. It's
Yeah.
less like of a mounted thing and more like you're kind of, excuse me, I need to borrow this.
Yeah,
Give it
exactly.
back. It's more one of
In
those kinds of things.
Incredible. Okay. So that's what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use kind of harpoon to distract it from kind of the land and shoot over and beyond it.
Okay.
If you let me.
Yep, yep,
And I'm
yep.
gonna use daring as my
As
facet.
daring. Okay.
Obviously my long range weapons. Um,
Okay. So your dice pool will be daring, your daring number,
yep,
1 for long range weapons because you have skill in that. And
yep.
then if you feel any of your motivations from your key apply here, add 2 more.
I would like to argue curiosity just because I don't know if this is gonna work. And I haven't shot a harpoon gun in a while. So I'm kind of interested to see how
You
this
know
goes.
what? This feels very very appropriate for your near himbo levels of buff scholar
Yeah,
nerd.
buff
So
scholar
let's
nerd.
go with it. Just
Yeah.
because it's less that this is appropriate and more that this is funny. And
Yeah.
I want funny in this instance. So
Hell yeah.
roll for that and let's see what happens.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh shit, that was a lot better than I thought it would be. I rolled such shit last week, so I'm really happy with this.
Okay, so what do we have your
I have
results?
4 successes because I have
Oh,
3
shit.
5s and a 6, and then I had a 2
Okay.
before. But then I would like to use I would like to use one of our advantage
Yep.
from the
So that'll
pool.
get you up to the 5. So that is going to officially be at 4 of 5 in your goal.
Hell yeah.
So you fire this harpoon.
Yeah.
Your intent is to try and distract this thing, correct?
Yeah.
So it's been a little bit since you've used a weapon like this.
Yeah.
You try and aim it well to not actually hit the direct thing, but the actual what counts as physical components and mass of this, because of the shroud, are a little difficult to tell.
Mm.
So there's a moment of you're trying to arc it over and like distract it and like scare it off. The hook kind of sort of bink right
Oh.
on top of it. Like
I'm such good aim. Let's go.
there is a harpoon just sticking out of the top of said shroud.
I'll take it.
That's 4 of 5 on the goal. Adestia.
Oh
It is your
God.
go.
Oh God. There isn't really anything for me to do, actually, interestingly. And I don't have good spell notes for this. I say, because I don't want to cast a spell, actually.
It's like, I don't want to get hurt. I like being in
No.
my body.
No, I just want to. Anyway, could I actually, now that the harpoon is in there, could I try and land Ransor onto it and try and seesaw it away from the boat or wherever?
You're trying to pull the harpoon and direct it? Or you-
No, like land on top of the end of it and just sort of pivot it.
You're trying to land on top of a harpoon with a massive megafauna.
Yes, and hoping that that is enough to maybe flip the damn thing over.
You're trying to.
Yes.
You're trying to
I'm
tip
aware.
it over.
I'm aware that this very tiny harpoon that is part of the. Yes, that's what I'm trying to do.
No, it's less than it's a tiny harpoon. It's just, did you hit it at the right angle with enough force with
Yeah.
the massive megafauna?
Yes.
Because it's a cloud elk for context. We're putting it at like moose levels. So
Yes. It's big.
a modern day titan
It's
essentially.
big.
It's a big boy. This is a skill, so this is to advance your goal.
Yes.
Okay then.
Because it is not going to be. I'm going to
I
physically move it somewhere else.
I feel like this is daring if I had to take a guess at a facet.
Just a little.
Just a smidge.
Just a smidge.
Just a smidge. Okay.
Can I make this an athletic? I mean, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna make this athletics though.
Damn it, the chat. Barnyard introduced cow tipping. Now we have shroud tipping.
Yes.
God damn it.
I mean, it's either a riding or a athletics, but
I think either one is gonna give you the dice.
it's basically the same.
At this point for you, it's basically the same.
I
See.
have no applicable keys.
No applicable key motives. All right, so it's just whatever your dice pool is. Let's see what you get.
It's gonna be so bad, guys. It's gonna be terrible. Geez, where'd that one go? Oh my god, I don't know where
You
it went.
can't have lost another die. You already lost a gemstone die.
Oh god, that's bad. I have 2 successes and a
Okay.
1. I have a 5, a 6, and a 1, and then the other's 4 and a 2.
5, a 6, and a 1.
5, 6, and a 1.
Okay, so 2 of those would automatically be success. So that's 2 of the 5 that you need. If you're willing to spend 2 more, that would get you to 4, and then
How much is in our pool right now? Like $1 billion.
11.
11 you can spend.
I'm
in
just
your
gonna.
pool. You could take the edge success if you're willing to take a compilation, or we can just spend from the pool if you
We'll
just
just
don't want to deal
spend
with
from the pool. We'll just spend from the pool.
Okay, good. So
Got $1 billion.
as you do that, that reaches the final point of redirecting it. The last advancement for the goal has been reached. 5, this crisis is now officially over.
Woo.
Adestia. And so
Yes.
is not. from the kind of just expression he gives you, just turning to look at you, he's not the most sold on this plan, but he's sort of like, all right.
It'll be great. It'll be cool as hell.
If an elk could sort of just give the look of, well, all right, he does. Beeline straight for it, and it's less that the harpoon in it is enough weight or anything, but it's just more that this thing has already had its shell cracked and shifted. It's had elements of what is going on in its head messed up, and now with a massive megafauna crashing into it, it is now upside down, and there is a distinct sense of this thing cannot move right now. Officially, you have managed to stop it from siphoning any sort of energy or aether from the ground. And any people who are in the immediate area have like evacuated and are just sort of watching from far away, seeing that a group of you have managed to topple this thing. What do you all do as you're seeing this creature just thrash around? Again, its feet are entirely metallic, a combination of various metals and silver. There is still the shroud of energy, by the way. You can make out more of the shell now that you've knocked it out over, but there is still that mass of like screaming faces just sort of stretching out at the borders of that shroud. What do you all do?
We need to get this thing out of the water. Azura says, not Amber. I don't know if anybody's even around. I just say it out loud. It's sort of a
Sort
oh
of-
no,
I'm
the
way,
ocean.
I'm way out. I'm way out on it.
You have nearly tipped Ransur over with trying to do this.
It's fine. See, it was totally cool.
We did it.
We did it.
We could probably, because you're like master of the boats, just
Mhm.
boats. So we could like kind of like, tugboat it back here and just kind of drag it.
Is it tippable looking? Like I feel like we would need to be like Iron Giant, tip it over, pull it on the shore, Gulliver's Travels,
I thought it
climb
was
on
on its
top of
back.
it.
I thought it
It's
was
Kill
on
on
its
its
back.
back.
Yeah,
So
it's on its back.
You could try and like
That's true.
turtle hockey puck it towards the shore if you would like to do that, but that would require, getting into the water and getting much closer to this thing.
Yeah, water not safe.
I would maybe we've made some questionable rapport with the captains in the
I did
what's the-
nothing of the sort. That was you.
Listen, you know what? And it wasn't the captains. I just pissed off the busker, so I think I'll be okay. So I will what I would like to do is I would like to go and talk to some of the other like ship captains and crew and say, "Hey, it's really dangerous to keep this in the water. I think that we need to pull it on shore. Could you please lend me crews and boats to do this? Like they will need to man their own crew and their own boats, but we need to work together to get it on shore." I'm assuming, because I'm assuming this thing is too big for one boat and one
Yeah.
crew to move. So
This is
I try to
perfectly-
rally the dock to
Okay.
help move this onto the shore.
Azir, you are seeing as some of the group, one person from the group is going to talk with the others, and in the meantime, Mammon is just sort of like poking his head out from behind you. Oh, that was actually pretty impressive. You sure you don't want any of this? Just chomps like several like somehow his teeth and his jaw like crack open and elongate long to get like half of one section of the entire thing. It's just... Want the other half?
I think I'm good for now. Thanks.
Good. I didn't actually want you to have it anyways.
Figured as much. Oh my god. I think Azir will probably just roll his eyes at Mammon being Mammon, of course, and just get back in my goddamn shadow. And he's like almost sort of like physically trying to stuff Mammon back into his shadow, which I think normally is where Mammon would travel. when they are on the
I
road.
I like that. By the way, Destia, despite nearly crashing into this, you still have the best view to see this strange individual who seems to be fighting with a demon and putting it into his shadow.
Not my
Like,
problem.
hey, I don't want to go in.
You're gonna stay there and you're gonna like it.
Fine.
Jesse's like, not my problem. It's people's personal problems and their personal problems. Um, she is really just trying to keep an eye on this thing to see that it doesn't try and get back on its feet, or if it doesn't do anything. She's also keeping an ear out for if it says anything, or if,
It's the most pitiful looking. Just imagine a turtle on its back with no way to actually get back, just with an ethereal screaming shroud of dark energy around it.
all right, all
Oh.
right.
It's you'd feel pity for it, except the whole screaming souls kind of aspect on the edges of the shroud.
I mean, even then, she's precious. It's like, okay, all right, calm down. Whatever. Yeah. She's just mostly babysitting while until we can figure out how to tow this back.
All right, Wea, what are you what are you doing in this moment?
I'm hoping to go help Azura and the boats and stuff.
Okay. There is a lot of hesitation from any of the sailors to really get anywhere near this fucking thing.
Yeah,
They're
I'm
all like,
happy
"Fuck."
to use some skills if I need to try to
I
convince them.
I would say this comes down to a matter of trying to convince them, and I would put this is a medium difficulty solely because they are frightened as shit of this thing and they've seen how easily it nearly took out one of the ships, so they're worried about sending multiple ships to try and move this thing.
Mm. No, totally understandable. And I think that uh I have a skill in spirits. So I think what I'm gonna try to do is convince them, like, listen, I know about spirits and I know how to not piss them off and I know how to, I have also skills like nautical survival. So I think with those two things combined, like I can figure out a way to maneuver this where everyone is safe at the end of the day.
I would say that makes sense. Roll
Excellent.
for that. Tell me what
Okay.
you get.
And I think I'm going to use the facet. I'm trying to decide. I think daring fits this one because it's like
You are
this
trying to
is
convince
this
a
is
lot of people of a
yeah,
terrifying thing.
yeah. That's sort of how I was feeling. I think I also would like to use my key foolishness on this
I
because I don't know exactly that this is going to work.
you know what? I'm gonna let you have that one because this is you don't know what this thing is fully.
It just feels bad that it's in the ocean and we should probably get it out of there.
Yes, this is correct.
1, 2, 3, 4 successes, no edge successes.
That is enough.
So I'm like,
It takes
say all those things. Like, listen, I know what I'm talking about confidently and not with any question marks at the end of my sentences.
so stop laughing, Abhishek. Every time you laugh, I want to start laughing too. So you managed to do this. You managed to talk to folks, and there is some initial moments of hesitation from a lot of them. But you do find a few folks, just a few, who seem willing to do it. You have someone who has only recently started, like managed to get a hold of a ship and is just like excited to like has a little bit of the naive, like still excited to think of the sea as adventure as opposed to this is a shitload of work. We'll give her the name Natya, and she calls out, to a pair. It is a pair of twins who probably are like cousins of hers. Uh, one might give the name Kai, and the other one she calls out to would give the name Vasa. And the two of them just sort of show up, and they're sort of like, "We got this, boss." He's like, "Yeah, we got this." And then both of them and try and like throw like different things to try and like just wrap around it and slowly start pushing it away towards the shore. You manage to get other boats. You get to get a pair of boats that are willing to do this. It's a slow ass process. As it arrives on shore and it's away from the water, it starts thrashing a bit, but it is not enough to break anything. It is just now very upset that it is away from the water now. But it is still upside down. You have all managed to tie it down to where it cannot make any sort of hostile movements, ostensibly.
That was the hope.
Ostensibly.
And then I'll point to everyone who didn't want to help us and be like, "See, I told you."
Azura, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
It's fine. I have a lot of scatter, so I'm pretty pissy right now. Like,
I'm just exhausted. I just want this to be over.
I'm like, fucking, but I told them.
It's okay. I'm pulling you away by like one arm and I'm failing
like-
miserably at it.
Azir, you have managed to stuff Mammon away and are upon the scene of seeing some of them successfully move this massive metallic tortoise creature.
He's gonna raise an eyebrow at that. It's definitely quite an interesting way to solve that problem, and is like, oh, impressive actually. Even though he can most definitely probably hear Mammon probably chirping in his head about some ridiculous thing. I'm like, yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. You'll be better. Take this.
Like you just see him in your head randomly pulling out different bits of food, and you're like, where the hell do you keep any of this? And he's like,
It's like, who and where did you steal this from? Where are you keeping the stuff? Did you pay them back for it?
none of your business, none of your business, and no.
I'm not surprised. I think with that, he probably might start making his way over to the group. He's sort of been watching from the sidelines for a little bit now. Might be a good time to sort of integrate / introduce himself to the group, I guess. So yeah. Quite the impressive feat.
She's gonna snap her head over like she's about to. I don't know. She's expecting people to be nasty to her. I don't. She is just what she's like. Thanks.
Azura, let's go get some booze.
Yes, it's just.
Hello.
Ugh.
Oh, I'm so
I s-
tired. I said
s-
see you. Hello.
I'm so sorry. I'm Azura. Thank you for your help with this. She's just like gestures.
Did-
This.
Did you help? I don't remember seeing you. I'm so sorry. Oh,
That's
need to
fair.
take a nap.
I tend to do a lot of work from behind the scenes, so I can be fair.
Oh.
I'm fairly good at hiding myself. So
I'm not, sadly. I'm so tired.
Azura's gonna go get Wea a blanket off of the ship and just like put it around her. It's probably like,
Shit.
you're like large, so it's probably like, like a regular sized blanket. So maybe it's like a little small on you, but just like a cozy something to.
It's the perfect shawl.
We'll just like
Thanks.
kick
Wow.
over a crate for you to sit on. Like,
Wow, massive cloud elk comes into the scene.
I'm just gonna try and like sweep past whatever is happening here, and I'm gonna try and I'm looking for Keldrenith.
Caladrenith, you just see a short distance away, is just like passed out.
All right.
Is just not. They don't seem like they're in any significant harm, but I think you would recognize it as like their body is like scattered is scatter loaded. It's
Yeah.
they need a long rest somewhere to recover from all of this.
All right, I'm gonna try. I remembered my character is very small. Children is also small. It doesn't help.
Both of you are relatively tiny.
I don't wanna throw them over the back of Francoeur like a sack
A
of
burlap
potatoes.
sack.
No, no, that is. So I think you're just all going to see like, this cloud elk and Odysseus just kind of like sweeps past, just beeline right past all of you. And is landing next to Keldrenith is now just kind of standing there, like, kneels, takes, pulses, do check. Doesn't seem to be in a hurry, like doesn't seem like too anxious.
No.
But then now she's just standing there like, hmm, hmm.
Odysseus, do you need my shawl?
I need help picking Keldrenith
Oh,
up.
oh
I
no,
can
Keldrenith.
try.
I'll come
I
over
accept
to
the help of strangers too.
Don't worry, I was already on my way over.
Thanks.
Most certainly welcome to a new party member I've ever seen.
So we can get Kel up on Ransur in like
Yeah.
a kindly way and like gently like I don't know, do we need to strap them in? I don't know anything about weird reindeers. Like
Hey,
this
don't
is not
call
a this is not an
Ransor is
ocean
not
animal.
weird. Don't be mean to him.
It's not bad to be weird per se. I just am saying that this is unusual for
Ransor
people of
definitely looks back
my
directly at Azura, just sort of like, "Hmm?"
You've hurt his
I-
feelings now.
Listen, I'm like whispering to Ransor. I'm very sorry. This is very awkward and I don't know what to say to you right now. But if you can understand me, I apologize immensely.
They're like, it's one of those long ass licks where there's just drool and spit, and it just, you like, a section of your hair is just now permanently stuck
Like-
up. You have the something about Mary kind of thing happening to you right now.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ransur likes you. And then I completely abandon Keladrenith's unconscious body and I just start scratching Ransur.
Does Keldrenith need secured on top of Ransur? I don't know anything about magical cloud elks. So like is Keldrenith safe to just be like propped up there?
I will admit that my hope was that somebody would carry Keldrenith so that I wouldn't have to secure them to the back of my cloud elk like a pelt. Um,
I think Azir would sort of offer a hand up here. I can probably take care of that.
thank
Like,
you. Thank you. You're very kind and useful.
Well, I'll take it.
So sorry to Sebastian that we're doing this to Keldrenith. I don't want to leave Keldrenith lying in the middle of the
No,
street.
No, that's fair.
I
just find it funny
totally
that it's now
agree.
be-
I don't.
This is our version of a party encountering a door.
Yeah,
where
I
it's just like,
don't.
we know it's not a difficult thing to solve, but we're gonna make a thing out of this.
Well, it's like,
don't-
okay,
I
well,
don't-
like, what if
I
I
don't
need
wanna-
2 hands? We've got
I
a
don't-
giant mecca in our beach right
Mecca
now.
is fine. I don't want to.
Yeah, surrounded by spirits going like, woo, it's totally fine. It's totally fine.
Dusty's
Very
not
chill.
worried at all.
It's a very chill situation we have happening.
I will say, Azura, did you say you had experience? You had training in spirits? Was it?
Yes, I have knowledge in spirits. That is one of my skills.
I would say, actually, with being this close to it, I would say both you and Azir are actually hearing bits of conversation coming from the spirits now.
not to like make you do too much work right now, and like points to like you holding Keldrineth. It's like, do you hear that?
Yeah, I think if you see Azasi, Azura, if you look towards Azir, like you can see like his ears sort of
Eh,
like perking up as if he did hear. Like, yes, I do actually. Interesting.
I want to concentrate on the spirits and what they're saying.
Very disorienting to try and like parse it out because at any given moment there's like 6 different conversations happening past one another. Man the
She's used
battlements,
to that.
protect everything. Man the battlements, take care of everything. Make sure that are they going to pass away? Are they going to die? No, we're all going to die. No, things will be fine. We'll protect everyone. The keep must be secured. It must be secured. Everything will be fine. Like, and then, sort of throughout all of it, you hear one voice saying, "I must go back and help her. I must go back and help her. I must go back and help her."
Who's her? As sort of like a, thinking out loud sort of thing. Azura says out loud, who's her?
Quite the
Also,
question indeed.
does not everybody's brain sound like this all the time? I mean, this feels very normal.
Mine does, but for other reasons.
Okay, interesting. Sounds like they were manning a ship. Lost a crew member?
Do you both keep listening more?
Azir would.
I think especially now that she's like, oh, it sounds like somebody's ship and crew and things like that would definitely.
There is. It is, though, for the two of you, everything else around you turns to complete black and darkness. You do not see Adestia or Wea at all. You do not see Stageport. You do not see anything familiar to you. The cloud, Rensor is not there. Keldrenith is not there. You are in pitch black darkness, like you have just been placed into a tar pit. And you find it is almost like a fast litany of images just starts to follow from there on. You see yourself amidst a conflict where you see spears being run through different people. You see catapults being launched at battlements. You see whole walls beginning to fall down. You see certain soldiers holding on to what must be good friends, good comrades, as they are fading from life. You see conflict on a scale that you probably have never experienced. Even Azura, you with your experience being out at sea, possibly yes or no involved in anything of an illicit nature, you've never had a conflict. There are battles, there are conflicts. You have never been in war. You find yourself amidst what must be full on war. And throughout all of that, you see what appears to be a humanoid of some sort, but the form and aspects of its body seem to be composed of different metals. And it seems to be charging through a crowd of several different soldiers in like these massive metallic fists just punching through different creatures and different people. And any mounts that are nearby, it just wrecks right through them. And you just hear in a faintly almost robotic, yet it's kind of uncanny valley. It's like 90% human, but
Mhm.
there's like a 10% of it that's just it's it's not quite got the rhythmic patterns of how a human would talk. There are ways in which that it speaks that don't sound human. And you hear it calling out, protection protocol in effect. Where is designation Celis? Where is designation Celis? Where is Celis? And it's just lashing out at different things, and it's almost like there is a shroud very similar to the creature that you've been dealing with beginning to form around its body. And like you see like the remaining sentiments of different people nearby who are still alive are almost being pulled to its form, like the raw emotion that they are going through is starting to cover its body. But you flash away from these instances and you see the creature in front of you you hear it begin to speak. This bit everyone hears. All of you hear the following said. Designation Silva unit failed primary directive. Initiate secondary directive. Return to Prime Sarah unit. Secondary impact land vehicle armament has failed primary directive. Return to primary leader, Sarah. Return to Sarah. All of you hear this. But Azir and Azura, you hear the voices specifically saying, like in a rush of words, the forests will soon be taken. The forests will soon suffer. May the screams of the heavens echo out through the forests. May the iron statue suffer, and may the last mountain know pain of ages past. You both get glimpses of steep hillsides with old forests where you hear wind going through them and rattling everything. See glimpses of monasteries and various demonic entities. And then you flash up to a high peak or an iron statue, seemingly letting out a constant sound of screaming as wind goes through the various holes in its body. There appears to be another kind of these units approaching the iron statue. Azir and Azura, you return full consciousness back to the moment.
Where?
Yeah.
Do you know something called the Last Mountain?
I mean, there are lots of mountains. Still, it's just like that one that like totally, you know, it's just gone. But there are other mountains, aren't there?
This one had a, for lack of better words, screaming giant on it.
Isn't that? I thought that was the one that crumbled already.
Most of it did.
Yeah, it's just like the tippity toppity. It's still up there. I have better words when I'm not so tired. Sorry.
That's what they said, right? Azura asked Azir.
Who?
The voices, the
Spirits.
spirits, they were talking about the forest and the last mountain.
Somebody familiar with Scattered Rose. Would that fit at all, or would this just be
Wouldn't fit the scattered rows, but you do. But and this is something your group can discuss. You and Azir, with your information combined, would know that there is a huge collection of hillsides
Mm.
that are decorated by old forests near the last tooth, the very last remaining section of the Cloudcomb Mountains. Before, once the calamity happened and most of them melted, the only thing that remained was the last tooth.
Yeah.
And at the very peak of the last tooth is a spot that Azir would very much be familiar with.
Yeah. Because what you're talking about is Scattered Road Palace, but it's the other side. That's what we're talking about. The actual last mountain. It doesn't. I mean, I've been to what you're talking about, and there's no such. Where I don't remember what my character's accent is.
You're fine.
I've been to what you're talking about. This is the only last thing left hanging up there, and that's not. But on the other side of the range, there is a single mountain left. Sounds a little closer to what you're referring to. Last of the Cloudcomb Mountains. Cloudcomb Mountains.
It seems like maybe something is originating from there or has something to do with there based on what these spirits have experienced. There was war in the area.
Wasn't there war kind of everywhere?
Uh, Zero will try to explain like what she saw in these.
I
Like
I would-
sort
Azir
of
would
like
probably yeah. Azir would probably
Like-
help fill in details. So yeah.
I imagine it's like I, as an American, saw a Civil War movie once, and I'm trying to explain this old battle to
Yeah,
you all
it's
to try to
kind of-
identify it.
it is kind of that vibe. I would say Wea being I would say between you and Azir, either one of you or both of you could try and roll I would say this would basically be kind of like related to knowledge, and you can take your approach of how your character might have come upon the knowledge to see if you can parse out some of the details based off of the different things either described or you directly saw. I would say you two have the most likely chance of discovering something. I'll put this at a if you can reach 2 successes, I will give you a base set of information. If you can reach 3 successes, I will give you more, and 4, I will give you perfect information.
Okay. I think Azir
Okay.
will try to roll with understanding. I think at this point, using that understanding facet.
Yeah.
Could I, as somebody who's been in the what used to be the Cloudcomb Mountains, because that's where, try and take it from a geographical aspect
I
of like
would say yes. Actually, you know what? I like that argument. Adestia, you may also roll. But again, 2 for
Yeah.
general information, 3 for more, 4 for
Yeah.
complete information.
because that's where the Rose Palace Peak is in that set of mountains somewhere.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. I also have a politics skill.
You know what? I will let that count towards this. I think that's actually very helpful for a different aspect of history in this.
I think. Trying to think which skill that I want to use for this. I'm not great for history stuff, but I think the most applicable one might most likely be. I want to say focus, but
I was gonna use focus.
yeah,
I think this is something that would require a bit of attention.
yeah. So from using understanding, that's 3 skills. Focus is 1.
I saw Mirm have a happy expression. So what were your results, Mirm?
My results were 2 6s and a 5.
Okay, that's 3 successes.
I have 2 6s, a 5, and a 1.
This is a 5.
I rolled 1 6 and 3 5s.
Okay.
Sick.
So I would say you all have enough for at least medium information between you, and Azir would probably have a little bit more specialized info. So here is what And this is something that can be happening while you're going to an inn or a spot nearby to rest. Um, what you're certain of is that this is not something recent. The armament, the various weaponry, the gear and armor and such that people were wearing and using, it's far too it's nothing from a recent conflict. It's from a while ago. Like we're talking like last war level stuff, like Rhymehold, like when two different kingdoms were at war with each other levels of bad. And I would say, amidst some of the details, there was one thing I almost forgot to mention that's very important. The being, the humanoid being, would have for a moment spotted another human who was at most would have spotted a human who was at most like 5'1", 5'2", dressed in a type of garb that has not been used in ages, like decades and decades and decades ago. And the closest approximation you have to this is that there are those who, in previous times, before there were those who were formally recognized by the deities, there might have been those who tried to commune with the earth. There were sort of like the progenitors to what became the Rangers. There were often folks who had a more like taxing direct relationship with earth and minerals. The closest term we have now would be something like land speaker, or it would be like druid, but they're kind of they're misleading in that it's never someone who just could do what we, in our world have the typical association with a druid, changing magical forms and such. It was just sort of the early, more oral history of having had access to using magic. But they were often very prized in moments of war, of earlier moments of war, because of that ability to converse with the land itself. I would say that Azir, your more extensive one, you would, while the other two and the three of you collectively would have the sense of like, this is old stuff. Like these are memories from people who must have been around then, but that's ages ago. I think the specifics about seeing her, whoever this Celis person was, the garb is something very specialized. It would have been something that like old texts and very like, this is a niche of someone's special interest, of someone's niche research project kind of levels of information you probably would have discovered at random at one point. That much Azir,
Funny because Azir actually has a skill in fashion, so
that makes it even funnier. It would have just been like one of those like historical tidbits that was added in as like part of the forward to something, but you probably would know some of the things that are repeated, because fashion is always a cyclical kind of thing.
Right.
You would know that there are some stylings people take on that are inspired by that old wear now. But again, this is old war, old conflict stuff. This is not something that like of even like necromantic kind of bent that might be a more modern day kind of thing. This is old. This is old magic. This is old magic.
I'm gonna ask Azir once we get to. I'm assuming we're gonna head back to the inn because Wei is about to fall asleep standing up, and Kel is literally passed out. I'm gonna ask Azir, when we get back to the inn, we're staying at the stage point. Is that what it's called? Stage Point Inn?
I think I called it was the Raven's Gaze, and everyone took me to task for not naming it Gays and saying it was Gaze.
I actually have it typed out as gaze, like Gays. Once we get back to the gaze, could you please help me? Azura wants to write this out. just because it is not something that the entire group heard or saw. I want to get a really good like dual memory uh sort of like capture of what these spirits images were, because Azora knows that her memory is not the best, and so if she does not write this down, then this is not going to be helpful at all.
There are Amber.
Yes.
Knew
We
it.
are that.
If you take the time to do so, you are able to. I will say, as you are coming back to the inn, it is with all the time going through this experience and passing through all, like having all of that talked about. There is definitely a moment of coming in of smelling something being made. It's You smell a distinct sense of coconut curds and creamy coconut caramel being mixed together and added to what appears to be a sticky, chewy rice cake. And that there is also another one that seems to have a rice cake that has cheese and sliced salted duck egg on it as well. There, the, I believe it was the goth, the 80s hairstyle goth who runs this establishment just sort of is pulling things out of the oven because they are a baking goth, because why wouldn't you have a baking goth? Sort of pulling stuff out of the oven and also attending to different things, and then they see you come in and they're like, what happened to them? Pointing at Keladrineth.
It happens.
So tired.
Fair enough. Just sort of keeps going on, like doesn't ask you any further questions, just like, all right. Fair enough. Are you all gonna need anything? Should I be getting, do you need medical attention? Should
I
be...
have it. I have it handled.
Do you
Don't worry
have
about it.
ice?
Yes, why?
Could I borrow some?
You gonna give it back?
I took the words, I like you. Took the words out of my mouth.
Can I eat in my room?
Bring you up like a plate of something?
Yeah. I really gotta go to sleep.
All right, whatever. Carries on. Sort of. And some short time later, solely for Mirm's benefit, I'll say that there is a plate brought up. You have essentially like a bowl of like rice vermicelli noodles that have a bunch of like chicken, shrimp, carrots, and cabbage in it. It smells like a whole bunch of soy sauce, oyster sauce, and fish sauce has been used to
Yeah.
make it.
Yeah.
There is, and there's definitely like when you come out of your room, because I think this is a fun detail, there is someone else staying at the inn who's like slowly trying to make their way over to take the bowl because they're like, I think they're not gonna bother. And right as they're reaching for is when your door opens.
I open it, I see them, and I go, ah! And I take my stuff and I go back in my room.
But yeah,
Ugly.
for the rest of the group, you are able to sit down and transcribe pretty much all of the memories, all that you saw.
Excellent. And I'll draw sketches and things too. It'd be like, oh, this person had a weird outfit on. So this is kind of what this weird outfit looked like, just because they were different than the others and things like that. And in the meantime, I'm gonna take this ice that I asked for and smash it. And we had coffee in here, right? So like there's
Think
probably
some
like
iced coffee.
cream and sugar. No, I'm gonna make no, I have a separate thing that I'm making. So I'm gonna put some cream and sugar in there, and then I'm gonna snag some coconut. And I've got
Bingsu?
this can of beans, like sweetened red beans, that I'm gonna put in there.
Are you making bingsu?
I'm making halo halo.
I was
Oh,
about to say, is that
it's
halo?
basically
I was
it's
just about to
Yeah.
ask if you. I
I was
heard
like,
coconut.
what is
I heard.
I
Yeah.
am off by this much. Can you
Yeah, I, was
believe
like, I heard
it?
Son.
coconut,
So
I heard cream
little.
sugar, and I heard beans. I'm like, I was just about to say, are you making halo halo? Because I literally just
Yeah.
had some over the past weekend.
I'm just like she's just like making
Terrible Filipino of me.
like she's just making like some sort of like shit, use what you have, like not anything great, but it's like this is comforting to her and she is gonna eat it while they're
Transcribing this all of
transcribing
this.
this. Yeah, it's sort of like I had a bad day and I need to eat ice cream for dinner about it. That's the sort of situation. Like
Honestly, understandable.
I would say you are all able to, if desired, retire to your respective rooms. I would.
Azir, are you from here in Stageport?
No, not no. I'm just passing through, really.
Do you have a place that you're staying? Because, and I point to Caldren's like passed out body. And be like, I don't think that they need their space tonight.
No, I am putting Kildrenith in their room. Like
That's fair. I think Azir will probably like, I currently don't have one, but
I mean, I will offer up whatever. I don't remember if I'm staying with someone or if I have my own space, but I will offer my shared space. And we'll try to like, I don't know if that you have to pay for extra people, but we're gonna
No.
sneak you out. Okay.
As I stated in a previous episode, I am not dealing with the ravages of capitalism in any world that I do not have to. This PDF did not specify currency issues, so I am not going to engage with that. I'm putting a foot down. We're not adding capitalism to this unless absolutely necessary.
We could just like have a suite and then everybody has their own like sections or rooms or whatever.
mm.
And then there's just like the shared space, the cute couch.
Yes,
Wait,
so if
let
nothing
Gena-
else, there's like
let
couch.
Gena talk. Gena's been trying to
Yeah,
say
I just
something
did-
multiple times.
like it doesn't really she's the only one who's like got a lot of focus here out of this trio. And she was watching this house. She's like, no, we are putting Kildrenith back in their bed. Like, we are not giving Kildrenith's bed away.
Fine.
I know we're tired. I know we're losing focus.
But
we
are
gotta-
they really using it? I mean,
Yes.
They're
using it more
if they're
than
sleeping. Yeah, I have
Well,
to agree with Adestia.
what's the difference between sleeping and being knocked out? I'm just saying, like,
as a medical professional trademark.
The funny thing is, Adestia is actually the most medically trained out of all of you, technically.
A
Like, her
medical
playbook
professional.
specifically does deal a lot with healing, so
I have a medicine skill.
And I imagine that Azura is the type of person who, like, when her crew gets hurt, like, she cares about, like, I think she would genuinely care about that, but also be like, your leg's broken, go walk it off, you're fine. Like,
Walk off a broken leg.
like,
Get killed, walk it off.
yeah. I don't think she but I also don't think because of the way that she reacted when she lost crew that she's really lost crew before. Like, I think that she is like, she thinks she's like, she thinks it's the norm to like have everybody survive. So it's like, oh, so they're just like sleeping, right? So it's just like, just throw them anywhere. They're passed out, like they're drunk.
No. No. It's like we're gonna put Kaldrenith in their bed. They're gonna be fine. I promise.
Okay.
Well, I will. The question mark really gets to Bestia. Like, Jessie's really like questioning. Like, she's not normally somebody who like works in groups. She's very like solo scouting, like the goat veldt and things like that. So like this is like, oh, this is wild. This is wild that I'm like the one who's like, yes, we have to put people in their beds. Okay. I think, yeah.
Good
I'm
guy
sure.
Azir is just standing over there like, no, I think she's right.
No, she's right. Yeah.
Well-
I think you should go to bed too, Azura. You seem a little.
I'm fine, actually. But Azura will offer Azir her bed, and she will sleep on a pallet or a whatever. She'll lean against the fucking wall and fall asleep. She doesn't really care. Like she's
Is it one of those I'm not tired
yeah,
kind of moments?
like when a toddler acts like they've taken cocaine like minutes before they crash out for a nap. That's exactly what Azura's on right now. She's so pissy. The scatter just makes her so agitated. Just-
I was gonna say, like, what is the experience for? I was gonna ask everyone like what their respective characters' experience of scatter is, because that's a distinct thing that the book asks,
Yeah.
like playbooks ask you to think about. I don't need to ask.
Yeah, it's
Apparently-
it's clear.
We
Yeah.
have the description: sleepy, cocaine toddler, and knock the fuck
Toddler.
out in Caladrin's case.
oh god.
I think we should all go to bed as soon as possible.
Fine. It's fine. Yeah. Absolutely. And she means it, but it doesn't sound like she means
Yeah.
it. Like,
Adestia is like silently resolving to be the last one to go to bed.
yeah.
You are all able to sleep, and with getting a full rest, your scatter is gone. It's complete. You're back to 0. I will say, as a last note before we move over to break for about 10 minutes, I will say, Destia, when you are able to put Ransor away, and as you are falling asleep, there's a small stable nearby that you're able to keep Ransor safely. There is a moment. There's a moment where you swear you see, much like you did ages ago, a beautiful, radiant dawn with opalescent antlers. Just a bit of ways. And she nods at you, and you sort of just hear in your head, like just a very sweet voice just going, "You did very good today."
Yeah, that's what you always say.
It's still true every single time I say it. I'll win you over yet, at some point or another.
That's it. Nothing else to add.
No, just the deity appears and is just very encouraging, very helpful. Is like the most chill, happy-go-lucky mom figure you've ever experienced. And it's just like, Mom, stop.
Yeah, it's exactly. I was literally about to say. It's like, oh, okay, mom. Fine.
That's kind of the vibe I picked up from the dynamic you have with her. It's
Goes back into the.
your covers are the exact temperature you like them to be. You sleep much more comfortably than you have in many a week.
Thanks, I guess.
I guess. Yeah, I'm realizing there's a reason why the innkeeper gets along with the Destia the most. On that note, folks, we're going to go to break for about 10 minutes. We'll see you real shortly and get back into our third session, which is Heavens Made to Scream. See you soon, folks. Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to session 3 of our Fragments of Loss Rangers of a Broken World campaign here. Heavens Made to Scream. So, every single time I say the session title, I keep reminding myself, yep, I did really call this session that. But anyways, poor and or great decisions aside, we come on back to our party having gone through an ordeal with handling this massive automata creature that is currently being shifted away and dealt with by Stageport. And the group having parts of the group having gone through this unsettling flashback to conflicts long past. The group, understandably, is very exhausted after their ordeal and is now trying to figure out what their next steps are going to be as the next morning arrives. Let's go with this for this morning on this occasion. There is a very distinct smell of seafood and various vegetables being cooked that greets you in the morning. There is a mixture of bitter melon, okra, squash, sweet potato, long beans, and eggplant mixed together in basically a one pot stew. That there is just there's wafting, and then there's almost like the cartoon element of like the scent going and like slapping you in the face with it that greets all of you in the morning. Keladrenith is still quite worn out from the experience yesterday and seems to have a few things on their mind, but is taking some time to process and wait before continuing on. But as the morning arrives, the stew is made available in various bowls. Once again, your innkeeper just sort of like goes over to each of you. Leaves a bigger bowl for Adestia. Goes back to working. Appears to be in the midst of some bookkeeping, but the day is upon you, folks.
Hey, I just want to say before anything happens today that I apologize for my behavior yesterday. Thank you.
Fine.
Happens to the best of us.
Honestly, don't kind of remember last night. So yeah, forgiven.
Azura's brought down the notebook or whatever she had written down the notes from the spirit's vision.
Apparitions.
Yeah. And so this is a known place. How long would it take to get there?
Take you a few days of travel to get over there. It wouldn't be too much to secure any passage or get any additional like horses and elements of travel to handle. It's more that once you are there, it comes down. Navigating the foothills will probably take a bit of time. But and I would say that it would come down to making sure that you stay prepared and are able to manage different kinds of like local threats, mostly wildlife. There's a lot of unpleasant large predators that I would say Adestia has probably had a lot of experience with, namely bears and mountain lions.
How bold would they be if I was riding around on a giant elk? I don't.
You'd have to find out. Again, the forest, like it expands, it spans out for quite a while, but like it's not impossible to navigate with someone who has some experience with those kinds of terrains, and also the last tooth is still clearly visible, and once you're able to get closer to the proximity of it, Azir would probably be able to take over in terms of sharing knowledge, because I would say for Azir, you would know that there are two distinct threats outside of just the general terrain and environmental dangers of relatively thin air and it being cold and steep and rough climbing. There are two distinct threats that anyone trying to get through the last tooth would have to deal with, namely the great Viscount, who is said to be a serpent who any foolish travelers who are not careful traveling the last tooth, it devours. And a noble demon, not a daemon, not a lesser daemon, a demon by the name of the Demon Princess, who has taken the title the Countess of the North Face. She is known to be one who's fond of having guests that she requires to solve a puzzle in her presence, or she will not let them leave. So it's a matter of your first thing is to get over there, second thing is to handle the foothills, and the third thing is to actually traverse the last tooth and see if you can deal with all of those threats without too much difficulty.
That's only 3 things. That's fine.
You say that, but you know.
There's 4 of
Listen.
us.
Optimism, okay?
It's one of the smallest numbers.
Exactly. And it's prime. So that means it's prime time, baby. No, I think obviously there's preparation to go into doing that, so I don't think it's like Azura's like okay, let's head off on over to do those things, because I think that one thing that's on Azura's mind too is there's a big giant turtle robot thing out on the beach that's just like chilling.
Oh, Destia's like, all right, let's go. Oh, right.
We should probably help take care of that because you know, as like the people who commune with gods, it feels a little bit like our responsibility to help with that.
I guess.
Like, all right, I guess we'll do it. We'll help
Fine.
out.
Yes, that's our job.
Everyone just turns into a valley girl who's upset at being told to do anything.
And Azura's like, oh, Bright Crew, we have a job to do today. Like, and she's like really like she's not like happy about it. You know, nobody likes to work. Azura does not dream of labor, but like this is our responsibility, right? Like we signed up to have this duty, and like this is something that we can do for SharePoint to help them. And plus, metal is worth money, and we could maybe figure out how to you know, get them things, and they can help us if we need help out in the future.
Yeah, it made money.
You do distinctly hear in your head,
Oh.
Azir, Mammon's voice sort of perk up. Hey, do I hear you talking about money?
I'm just like thinking, oh, shut up, this is not involved. And I'm like, I think I'm almost like a sort of like impulsive like stomp on my shadow just to like you see if you can even cause Mammon physical harm, just to like get
Ow.
him to shut up.
Hey! You can't keep me quiet forever. They're gonna see me. They're gonna know about me.
Can we see the daemon?
I think it's
If he tries to come up and maybe steal your food, then you might be able to catch a glimpse of him.
Yeah, there is at various points throughout breakfast, there is like a golden hand trying to creep over the edge of the table, trying to take food from any one of you. There's definitely a moment, considering I think I said Adestia got the biggest bowl, where you do see his hand trying to inch his way to the side of it and grab it.
She is not that observant. So.
And I feel like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like that's a concern. I mean, like, you know, animals got to eat too. And I just would assume, not seeing its full, that it's like some sort of like, I don't know, just some sort of animal that's just like, whatever.
Like a raccoon with the little
Yeah, yeah.
hands.
Like little grabbies.
Let's go with that. Sure.
You just like drop some on the floor on accident, like you would with a dog when you were like a little kid. Like, oops, I dropped that one for the dog.
Head
And
just
it's
pops out of the shadow. Thank you kindly.
I was just suggesting raccoon to help with the hand situation.
it's none of my business.
Yeah, the less involved you get with him, the better. I can already tell you that.
But
Hey, you got involved with me.
Not by choice, mind you.
I don't know. We end up going to people we like, and you seemed pretty great.
What can I do to make you shut up?
I'm gonna need the rest of that bowl.
You're lucky I was done eating.
Ah, yeah, here we go. And then just eats the bowl directly. Like, doesn't even go for the food right away. Like, is eating the side of the bowl. And there's definitely a moment of the innkeeper going, "Hey!"
Azir would definitely compensate the innkeeper for said damages. I'm like, I'm so sorry about him. He is very unique with his tastes.
Head pops out. The word you're looking for here is greedy. I am Mammon. A pleasure to make your acquaint. Bonk with like a broom.
Thank you.
Don't worry, my girlfriend deals with them all the time. It happens. The morning is yours, folks. Is the intent to go and deal with said stationed water turtle? Shadow turtle, pardon.
Yeah, I want to figure out how to exercise spirits from a robot.
Yeah, I would also love to do that.
It feels like they need to be set free.
Really?
Boss all of a sudden just starts waving at it.
Hmm.
What's that? Well, have you ever heard of Jesus? No.
Oh,
Well,
God.
see, here's the thing. No, we're not introducing Christ into a world.
Please
That
don't.
would, that would
No.
never go well.
God, that sounds awful.
God sounds awful, yes, actually. This God sounds awful. Anyways, when you make your way to the beach, it's not there.
Hmm. Are there any signs of where it went? Like tracks,
Well,
scratches?
there
Drag
was the
marks.
end of a pier that just is kind of gone now.
The end of a pier. So like the pier is still there, but it's just like a chunk is missing.
Like if you know like if you go like harbors or like coast beaches and like
Mhm.
you see the little extension bits where folks are like fishing or like looking out
Yeah.
across,
Yeah, yeah.
like the back 20% of it is gone.
Hmm.
I'm gonna ask around. Like, I feel like something that big going missing is not gonna do it whisper quiet.
You ask around, just because I think it would be funny that it's him doing this. You do run into Virgil again, and sort of like, all right, why exactly are you asking me about this?
Because it was haunted?
All right, I suppose that's an understandable reason to ask about it.
Felt like as good as reason as any. Yeah, we kind of want to unhaunt it.
Well, you're probably a little bit too late because whatever happened with that kind of thing, it stopped moving for a bit this morning. Like there's just been people going by just trying to keep watching it. Then all of a sudden, it kind of started spinning on its back, and the tendril, like a bunch of these like weird, like it was like octopusy tentacles, just kind of tried coming out of it and push it back upright.
Were they metal tentacles or were they oceany tentacles?
You know, this is not a question I normally have to consider very often in my life.
I usually don't have to consider giant robot turtles, but here we are.
You know what? That is a perfectly fair evaluation of the situation. No, it was shadowy tentacles of some kind. They just appeared to lash out and sort of the thing started drifting through the air a little bit.
Okay, we saw those when we were fighting it. the like shadow tentacle things.
A buddy of mine who'd been a bit closer just overheard it saying something along the lines of like primary objective failed,
Mhm.
must return to Sarah. We just kept repeating that over and over after a while. It sounded like something got stuck on a command of some kind, and it just sort of tried getting away.
Well, I think we can't really do much about it. It's headed back to its origin point. I appreciate you, Virgil. I'll just put like a dollar into, or a equivalent of a dollar into whatever his busking basket is for today.
I see that you are just as generous as you have always been. If only you were so gifted in the singing faculties and the performing faculties.
And Virgil heard me yesterday, like screaming this
That's
spell.
why he's saying that, and they're just being the same way.
And honestly, the reason why I did it was because of Virgil. That was my shout out to Virgil.
Flattering.
I helped destroy a giant robot turtle in the name of
As form
Virgil.
of imitation.
Yeah. So,
But as you do get the sense that like whatever this thing was, it probably just went inactive for a bit, but it restarted. It doesn't seem like it's going to cause any havoc here, though, for the time being.
It's like when a Roomba is dying and it goes back to its base to recharge.
What's a Roomba? Adjuster says.
Oomba?
It's
Robert Oomba?
Yeah,
Robert Oomba.
we called him Roomba for short.
Famous tactical retreat in history from the last war.
Exactly. Roomba.
The Roomba Gambit, I believe it was called.
Yeah.
Stop.
They really swept up their enemies.
Left no crumbs.
Stop, I'm already dead. But as far as you're aware, there's nothing more you can do about it in your current situation. Whatever it was, you've at least scared it off enough that it doesn't want to come back right now.
Well, and to be very honest, I don't know that I was sure how to exercise a turtle robot, so
I
This
feel like
might-
Azir might have been able to help you with that, at least a little bit.
you know, it would have been a long shot anyway. So you know what? Maybe this is
Yeah.
for the better. We could have potentially made things worse. So I think this is just fine. Probably.
Probably totally fine.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at some point we're gonna have to deal with this Sarah, or if Sarah is truly as old as we're thinking based on the imagery shown by the spirits, whether Sarah is an entity or a person. If they're a person, they're probably long gone. But if it's like a spirit or a place or something, then you know, may
And that's
still
what we're gonna go
exist.
find out, right? At the last tooth. Right?
Yeah.
Totally fine. We're gonna meet up with it eventually.
Did Virgil say like what direction the turtle was going? Like if it was back up.
In the direction of where the last tooth would be.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
See, no worries.
It's almost like your GM is trying to lead you somewhere with the plot
Almost.
and everything. We only have a guest for 2 weeks.
Maybe
I
maybe we should talk to Virgil.
Virgil!
been
Meet his partner, you know?
Adestia's been on
yeah.
her has been on like her
I swear
elk.
to God, I will bring more death here.
Just kill all the NPCs off. Force us to leave.
Angel is like, oh no, SharePoint, it's gone. It's burned down to the ground. Weird. It looks like you gotta go somewhere else.
Teledrenith is
Look,
totally
We're gonna
fine.
pillage. We're gonna
Look,
go
I-
through all the
Look,
ashes.
I'm not
and
gonna
see-
I'm not gonna pull a fucking Nibelheim from FF7 and just burn everything to the ground. I won't do it. I refuse.
You won't, but doesn't mean Teledrenith won't.
God damn it.
We don't know what Kildreneth is doing while they're like recovering. Maybe they're creating a mass arson plant.
Maybe they're figuring out they love pyro.
Listen.
As someone who regularly deals with lava, it's a fun time.
am slowly but surely wondering what mistakes I've made that got me to this point in my life.
Okay, so I think that um Azura will start making some sort of like log of like, this is what we need to travel, right? Like a captain would do, like would be like, okay, we're going to be traveling, it's going to take us this long, we're headed to this destination, we're going to be inland for this many days. So it's going to start getting a list together of what we need to travel, and then ask the gang, when would we like to set off, because we will need to sail, correct?
No, this is inland continent.
Oh, it is inland, okay.
Yes.
I thought we needed to like sail to somewhere else and then go.
No, that part comes later.
Gotcha.
That's
Gotcha.
that's another plot point later down the line. I have things. Listen, I have story beats and ideas. I have one job here. It's ridiculous, but I try. I try so hard.
Hey, to be fair, Anessi's been sitting on Ransort. She's been eating an apple the whole time. She's ready to leave. She's been like,
Whenever you guys are done fucking around, we're good to go.
that's exactly what Adessi is doing. She's like,
Adessi is like, I've already done enough side quests. I need to go deal with the
she
next
heard
boss.
she heard the word forest and was like, dope.
Yeah.
Dope. Back to where I understand how things work.
Great.
Azir's in kind of a similar boat, only just switch out forest with mountain.
Yeah.
She's like,
Like I don't have to be here. I don't have to be around people. Mammon doesn't have as many things he can take.
Exactly.
I'm fucking around because I'm trying to stay next to the ocean. This
Yeah.
is scary. I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen.
great.
So, you know,
there are like
it's-
trees.
There's a forest. I don't know, like I've seen like little forests, but like I'm always next to the ocean. I'm always
Yes. Yes.
within arm's reach of
Yeah.
seawater.
Azura's like, what kind of like stuff lives in the forest? Like
Mine's a thing.
like
I think
what
there's-
lives in
there's-
the forest?
there's probably more of Ransur in there.
Oh, like
but-
giant weird reindeers. Okay.
Yeah, maybe there's like fish with legs in there too. I think
Like mermaids with legs?
no, like fish, like sharks and stuff. And maybe turtles, and then the turtles are actually on land, so maybe they have like different legs. I
They
don't
do
know.
have those kind. They're called tortoises. Those are real.
Oh.
Those do exist. So
I just
maybe
know my
there's,
sea
like-
turtles.
do you think there's like land eels?
There has to be. They have little
Yeah.
legs.
That's
Maybe they have a
technically
bunch of
regular
little
eel.
legs.
That's technically
No.
regular eels.
Not to rein in this very ADHD thread. But what are you doing next? I genuinely, this is your GM asking,
Oh,
what are you doing
Oh,
next?
we're leaving town. We gotta
We're
skip
leaving.
town.
Yeah.
We gotta-
Okay, because for a second I was like, what are these chuckle fucks doing? I don't
So
know anymore.
Azura truly does not know like what it's like to travel in the forest. So really, we'll ask someone that is not also an ocean person, probably a Destia, and then like anybody in town who knows like, I'm headed to this area. What do I need to travel through that way to gather supplies? Because like, yay, boat stuff. It could be great, like ropes and things, but it's like, I don't think that I'm gonna need to pack my sails to go to the forest. So.
Well, okay, so here's what I'm gonna put it down to. You have a Destia who is seasoned in traversing that kind of terrain. However, in terms of finding all the clothing and proper equipment you need to be prepared, I'm gonna need someone to do a roll to essentially talk and or shop around the stage board. I need you to pick one person, and I'm going to make this a tier of success. If you do 2 successes, you'll have the bare minimum, but you might have a few nasty things. That you might have some things on either the food or clothing front that will make things harder. If you get 3 successes, You'll be set for pretty much anything, assuming no major disaster kicks in at any point. If you get 4 successes, you are prepared for any potential outcome. This is pretty much just making sure you have the available and kind of gear that you need and resources and set up so that you are going to be set for anything that might come up.
I don't mind making that rule. I don't mind being the person in charge of that because I'm assuming I will need gear. Wea will need gear. Destia, you're probably okay with like what you have since this is like your space. Azir as a mountain ear. Okay, not okay.
You would probably have experience handling the more mountain trekking part of it. The forest stuff is not necessarily your area of
My
expertise.
forte, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you would still probably need a bit more
Gear,
gear.
yeah.
So it comes
Okay.
again, it comes down to just to have the whole party prepared. I need one person to make that roll.
Okay. I don't mind being that person.
Okay.
Looking for some adaptability.
Good pick.
Looking for some tactics skills.
I would say that applies in this case.
Okay.
I would say that that's appropriate.
I don't think I really have anything else that would apply. Separate my face up here.
All right, so roll those. Tell me what your results are.
2 successes and no edge successes.
Okay, 2 successes. So you will probably at some point or another need to get a bit more supplies because you'll have enough to make it over there and probably deal with the first night or 2 being in the forest.
Mhm.
But you're going to have to go scavenging at some point, and Adestia would probably know any sort of scavenging throughout the forest comes with risks.
Mhm.
But so you all are able to begin the process heading over there, and you reach the edges of the area known as the foothills. It's a few days' travel, and when you arrive there, it's the first thing that stands out to you is the wind.
Ooh.
Just going through any part of the edge of this forest, the moment you enter, it's much colder. But even more startling than that, it feels like you suddenly stepped into a haunted house with the way that the wind sounds.
Mm.
It's almost like a long, raspy kind of breaths are being had from any given angle. And even more unsettling is the fact that every now and then, accompanying some of those long, raspy breaths are what sound like almost a scream at the end of it. It's an unsettling and unnerving, constant background track to any movement through this place. It will probably take you somewhere in the range of 3 to 4 days to navigate this successfully. But you arrive within the foothills.
Well, we got one thing done. Only 2 more things left to go.
I feel like the other 2 are a little bit more high stakes than getting here. That's just me.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree.
Talking about.
Say, as you begin like traversing parts of the forest, you start to hear some distance away something moving. You hear like creaking sort of noise of something in the distance. and it's this is gonna be a throwback for people who've ever seen this. If you've ever watched The Lost World, you know the moment where they're up in the canopy and they just see like some trees in the distance just kind of starting to move and topple over. You're seeing that from the ground level. You're seeing some distance away, some trees are beginning to fall over. You can't quite make out what it is, but you know something in the distance is disturbing the forest.
Setting. Can I am on red sword anyway. Could I tell him to pop up so I can get a look?
You're able to go up above the tree line, and what you see is a startling sight. It's hard to make out at first because the shape doesn't really make sense. You see what must have been like reams and almost long threads of maybe sweet potatoes or onions or carrots. It just looks like something has a whole bunch of these draped along its body, and then you realize that that is what the body is. It's like a conglomeration of vines and crops that have been ruined, and bits of soil are sort of composing and making all of the joints to whatever this form is. There's no real head. It just sort of has this massive bipedal form made from a just ball of ruined crops and soil.
I'm gonna pop back down. This was really more of a really long, like, big jump, whoosh, and then gently fall back down. I'm not sure what it is.
What did it
That
look
is
like? Yeah.
It's big, has some roots. I don't know. It looks like something made up of the surrounding land or something. I don't know. It seems like a similar problem to the one yesterday, is my cynical take on it.
Hmm.
Can't let it.
But it's not a turtle.
No.
No. Okay.
It doesn't have a head. Turtles have heads. Okay. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, what direction is it going in? Is it like going away from us or toward us, or like
It's it's some distance away. It seems to be heading away from you. It as of yet does not appear to have a reason to go in this direction.
Is it like, does it seem to be heading toward the last tooth also, or is it just like
It seems to
completely-
have a much more aimless wandering bent about it.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say like random, but wandering's better word. Uh I relayed information to the group. I don't know what the deal is. It is a problem of some sort. It's very big.
So would you say then, kind of like what you were looking at? I don't know if you have like, we have like kind of like these gummy trees things, and if you roll it up, like it picks up things that you roll it on. So does it kind of seem like things are kind of just like attaching to it, or
Like a katamari?
yeah, like a Katamari Damacy? But like, does it seem like things
Above
are just
table, it is very
Yeah,
much more
yeah.
in the Katamari kind of range.
Yeah, that's what I meant. It doesn't has no
Above
idea what you're
table,
talking about.
one other phrase one might use to describe this is it would appear to be a shambling mound of sorts.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Desi doesn't know what any of that is. She's just like, it's a thing of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks as though from what you would be able to tell from the crops, probably some
Yeah, it's like, I don't like it. I don't think we should be letting it pick up every single, like, pull up the entire landscape. That seems like a bad idea, yes?
That's a horrible idea. I agree. But how do we engage with it.
You just walk straight at it, I would assume.
Okay. I can. Do you want me to try to go long range or?
Well, we should approach it first, is what I'm saying.
You said it seemed
What is
aimless,
that noise?
though.
Sorry, there's like a weird banging noise.
Yeah.
I mean, we could intercept it. It's very big. It's not moving very fast.
Okay.
We should just approach it. See what's up first.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what Odessia wants to do.
Okay. I would like everyone to roll to be discreet
Wow, this is great.
Oh wow.
towards the creature. This is just a this is a 2 success one.
I would assume this is a subtlety roll.
Yeah.
Up
Yeah, I'd
to
probably
you,
assume
but
so.
Probably be subtlety.
And we can still add skills and stuff.
Have an applicable skill that you feel is relevant to the situation, then yes. And if you feel you have a motivation in your key that is relevant,
See, I'm not gonna even roll because it's not possible for me to get 2 successes.
Well, you have one for
I
your
have a-
facet.
I have a
Right?
1.
And
I
then
need 2.
but then
You don't have any skills or like
No.
a
try with the
No.
skill.
or
I
like a
don't.
key from
No.
your
Don't you have survival in the forest?
It's not gonna help me with still.
I feel like it will.
I
argue it
mean,
might,
if
I
yeah.
it's
would
a-
I
if
would
it's a-
argue that it would.
survival as
Yeah.
a skill applies broadly. It is skills are meant to be thought
Oh
of. in a
no, I
much more-
know. I know, but in my mind it does not. See,
I
you
leave
want me
it,
to do it?
folks. I leave it up to Adestia to decide whether or not it applies. I leave her with final decision.
Mm.
The option is there, but if you feel it's not appropriate for your
I
character,
will roll my 1 dice just to see what happens.
because I kind of want to see what happens even with just the 1 dice.
It is a 1.
Oh.
Ooh,
Better.
wow. It's not a 0.
So,
It's not a
but
0.
Everyone else, do your roll. So Adestia, we'll get to you in a second, but everyone else, this is just a matter of seeing, like, does this thing notice you?
I'm also on a 12-foot animal.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
You also have the ability to fly, though.
I mean, yeah, but
I'm
I feel like that
gonna
makes me more conspicuous.
But fair.
I'm gonna argue for using the skilled navigation to work our way there. And then also the key curiosity, because we don't know what this thing is pretty cool. We should check it
You
out.
know what? That's fair. I'm gonna allow that.
I wanted to roll more than 1 die.
That's fair.
I'd like to argue tactics just to like
You're trying to be
take
careful
in-
in your approach. Yep. No,
Yeah.
I will allow that.
And then I would
Allow
like
that,
to
folks.
use my key of knowledge to
Yeah.
gain that
This
information.
is very much you're trying to understand what the hell this thing is.
Yeah.
I just want to point out that using 4 dice compared to 1 did me no good. Just so everybody knows.
Oh no.
Azir.
I'll argue subtlety and I think focus for my skill. I think.
Oh, this requires some focus. Buddy.
Yeah.
Do the thing. Tell
Alright.
Mirm, what did you roll?
2 successes.
Okay, so far you were the only one who has managed it, Azir.
Okay.
5 and a 6.
5 and a 6, you were good. So the 2 of you are fine. It's oddly fitting that the 2 of you would do this, because the other 2 of you, it's more a matter of a destiny. You are not a subtle
No.
person
No.
whatsoever. I believe the word traipsing was created solely for your
Yes.
purposes.
Traipsing.
Her plan here is to walk straight up to it. So,
Oh.
And
Okay.
I think Azura is so concerned with the fact that like Azura wouldn't just drive a boat directly to a great white shark. So like this feels a little silly and maybe dangerous. And is very concerned with that.
You are too scatterbrained to really be mindful of how your movement is being done. Two of you manage to successfully stay out of sight from this creature as you try and move closer to it. The other two of you are noticed. This creature sort of just stops in its path. And again, there's no real face, there's no real head. It is just a mass of ruined crops encrusted with soil at any given point where a joint might exist. What are you doing?
What like it's like what is it doing? It's just like
It's just sort of like shambling. It is, again, it is just a no real intellect or strong consciousness to this creature. It is just moving around. Because you have done nothing to agitate it as of yet. It's just aware of your presence.
Okay. Dusty's doing like, standing at a construction site, like that's the vibe right now. Like you just could I try and understand like what is like underneath all of these like crops and like dirt and like landscape that it's accumulated? Could I try and understand what might be the structure underneath this? Or like the force by which this is happening? Before it
I
tries
would
to
say
take a swing at me?
yes. I would put this under an understanding type of role. I'm going to be right back and use the bathroom, but I'll be
Yeah.
returning
Okay.
shortly.
Understanding. Let's see. Do I have a skill that is in this? Um,
Well, what are your skills?
I'm good. I'm gonna add one for a tactics reason. My key is not great for any of these roles. It's actually really funny what my key is. I have, self-improvement, honesty, redemption, and resilience, and these are not great skills. This doesn't apply to any of this. Just like, okay, this is very like I do want everybody to imagine like she's doing like, Italian grandfather at a construction site. Like that's how she's approaching this right now. So it's very like, okay, I see what we're doing here. We're just
Okay.
Yes, and then there that. Yes, absolutely. I
Is that
understand.
oh okay, yep, you have one of those?
Mhm.
this is not. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm gonna roll four dice and see what happens.
Woo!
Okay, it's middling. It's
Ooh.
two out of 4 dice, which is 50%, which is middling. They're both
Okay.
5s.
Listen, I think that we should just vote on whether that's good or not.
Yeah.
We get to say on what is a success in this instance.
Listen, if anybody has any pets that can also vote in this instance, please.
My cat votes in our favor. My
The
cat
gym is
pro worker.
the gym is gone. We can just decide what we want.
Chat, what do you think? What do you think?
Is
It should be it should be //poll. Like /POLL.
We love it.
How'd you do on your roll?
I got I don't remember what I rolled specifically, but it's 2 out of 4. 2 out of 4 5s.
We all agreed that it sounded really great.
Yeah, we did. And there's a poll in chat. The chat will decide.
Chat decide.
Yeah.
So you had 2 successes out of that.
2 successes, yes.
I would say the most basic thing you have an understanding of now that you've gotten closer to it, and I would say both Weya and Azir would know from being a bit more distance and watching this thing. Azura, you still have no idea what the hell this thing is. Adestia. There are creatures who are born of sentiments and feelings, oftentimes of great pain and loss, that just manifests as a result of said sentiments. You would understand this in getting close to it, that this is a horror. This is an entity formed of the loss of poor harvests from people in the nearby region. It does not act with any intent. As far as you can tell from intention, you can't say for certain, but you get the sense there is no strong intention behind it other than it just wants to wander and get more attached to it. That is about it. That's about all you can determine from being this close to it.
This is not a problem I could personally solve. All right, we gotta back up.
Correct.
Yeah. I signal to Azura like, oh, back up. Hit the reverse button. Beep, beep.
Beep. I'm glad we both went to the exact same thought. Beep,
Beep, beep.
beep.
Back up.
There is a distinct moment where one of you backs up and you hear the like a twig snap, and this thing like thrashes and lashes around. But if you do nothing else, if you just keep going like
Yeah, I know. I'll just.
back.
It's just that moment of like freeze. Would it? And then start. Just keep backing up. Backing up.
Back
All
up.
right. Where'd the other two go?
The other two who are hidden and you cannot see them.
Nope.
They're literally doing the Japanese game show hosting when the wall's coming at you and you have to form your body in a specific
Yes.
way. But they're doing that against the trees.
Absolutely, yes.
All right. All right, folks. I think we're dealing with a horror here. A horror. A horror.
Horror.
A horror.
Or what?
I think it's a horror, and
Rar.
that is actually how I say it. It's very New York. A horror. Um, I don't know. I don't know much about them other than, you know. So unless somebody else would like to have a suggestion, this is a little above my pay grade. Just like above table, just do like.
Just like, nope.
Who else's pay grade is it?
The above table. That is a Destio's opinion. That is
It's just not
To
my circus,
clarify.
not my monkeys.
Yeah.
Is the vibe. Not my circus.
I can
not
see
my
that,
monkeys.
yeah. I think from his hiding spot, Azir might try to see if he can find out more about this thing. I'm gonna see if I can do a skill roll for understanding and spirits.
I would also like to
Yeah,
Yeah,
try to
I-
understand.
Destia is like out to the wherever she approximates she last saw you to be like, it's a horror, I don't know
Azir
much
and I
about
just
them.
never came back. We're still hidden watching this thing.
I would
Because I
say
wanted to see if I
both-
could hear anything.
Yeah, I would say both of you roll with your respective skills to try and understand more about this thing.
There's a reason Adestia's key involves the words self-improvement and redemption. There's a reason.
Yeah, I think I might be able to use one of my keys here also.
Oh, let's see.
Mysticism.
Yes, I would say so.
I would like to try to argue.
So my favorite start to a sentence in this series is going to be
Yeah.
Mirm going,
um,
I would like to try and argue.
I'd like to try to argue control so that I can understand the situation and like take control of like
I think that's
that.
appropriate.
Yeah.
So both of you roll. Tell me what your successes are.
Like 6 dice. That should be fun.
That Jesus, I don't get to roll anything.
Uh, yeah, 3 in understanding, 1 for spirits, and then my key dice.
Makes
so, yeah.
sense.
Yeah. I rolled
Okay,
5.
so-
So I got a success and an edge success.
1 success and an edge success
Yes.
I got 3 successes and an edge success.
for both of you. I will give you the additional success if you are willing to be the first to deal with an upcoming problem. I will not tell you what the problem is, but you will be the first ones affected by it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay.
So
you would know that horrors. I think Adestia would know the most bare minimum of like having
Yeah.
grown up in similar areas, that horrors do sometimes in the more common age wander and appear now during places of great like suffering or where tragedy has happened. But I think the more specific details that Wea and Azir would know are that there have been more of these cropping up lately than even is to be expected from like a lot of the losses that have happened in the area. And the fact that this thing has traveled out so far, it's normally this is more of a local one that occasionally appears in areas where there's either nearby like farmlands and such happening. Normally it'll sometimes go, if a harvest is bad, it will start to pick up from like the rotting aspects of it and then just build up and form. They're terrifying, but they're not in and of themselves. They're stabilized in the environment and the ecosystem over time. Even something like this. But the fact that it's out here means something has been agitating it or causing it to be going out this far, which is strange. So you get the sense that whatever that Azir and Azura may have seen like initially happening somewhere in this direction is probably related to why this thing is wandering out so far. But the second thing, along with knowing that like so long as nothing directly agitates this mound, it is not going to be hostile. It does not tend to actually try and be aggressive to things. It's relatively neutral as far as how it interacts with anything in its environment, other than just it just gathers soil into its body or gets additional vegetation. All of you start to hear that like raspy breath and that screaming increase. Like it's gone from to like it's becoming almost like something is right next to you breathing in your ears. And you start, the two of you, it actually, again, it's oddly fitting that the two of you hiding don't realize it, while the other two of you out in the open see this coming before the rest of the group does. Adestia, there is one thing that you definitively know about this area that you have to be extremely careful about. Even though you're not used to this kind of thing showing up for at least another few weeks, it is windstorms.
Uh-oh.
Windstorms on occasion will rack boreal regions, especially those near the last tooth. And from just the sound of screams just suddenly like echoing out through the forest, which in a moment of clarity, Azir, you realize this is probably coming from your Daelith, because her statue is described as having multiple holes in it that when the wind blows through it, it's like screams that echo out from the heavens. A windstorm has now arrived in this region, and you all are going to have to tough this out until it calms down. And that is where we were going to end our session for today as a windstorm arrives in the forest. That is something you are all going to have to deal with next session.
Uh-oh.
Yay!
It's fine. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Fine. I already have an
fine.
idea.
Oh, one other small, tiny thing, because y'all chose to deal with this.
Oh, that's right.
We chose to do this.
You chose yes to an unknown problem.
That's
You
true, we
chose-
did, yeah.
Yes.
This one, I will make it just to sort of fit more within the parameters of the rules rather than in crisis mode, rather than asking you to deal with this from giving up from the advantage pool. I'm going to ask you both to make one last roll for this session. Choose whatever facet you like, whatever skills are appropriate, but I'm going to need both of you basically to roll to get the hell out of the way as the windstorm initially makes its first impact. Various tree branches start to bend and snap towards you. So whatever you're doing to deal with it, this is your last roll, and then we will move into outros and everything else. Because
I'll say adaptability and athletics for Azir.
all right.
Makes sense.
Same adaptability, athletics, and then a key note, freedom.
All right. You need 3 successes.
Oh, this is gonna be interesting.
I'll tell you what happens if you don't manage it, but you need 3 successes to avoid the consequences of this.
Okay. 2 and an edge.
So only two successes and an edge?
2 full successes and 1 edge.
Okay, we'll get to that next week. Mirm,
Write that down.
that's not a face. It inspires confidence.
It's not, because it is not. I'd like to use. I'd like to use 2 rerolls
Roll them.
to
So mark
hedge
that.
my bets.
Okay, so if someone could do me a favor of just writing down in our channel edge success for Abhishek and that 2 of our rerolls for Mirm are gone. Roll that.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Oh, I have 3 successes.
Okay.
Ah.
I'm certain Abhishek will take this regardless, so I'll say that the consequence of this is you both avoid gaining 2 scatter from this. Like, before combat or before the crisis even kicks in, you were both just going to start with 2 scatter already in play. So you have avoided that consequence. We'll deal with the rest of Abhishek's stuff next week. So thank you everybody who has tuned in for this session. Going to go around very quickly. Everyone's going to say who they've been playing, who they are, and one thing we can find you in real quick. I'm Angela Lemos Mogrovejo. I use she, they pronouns. I've been running this game. You can catch me Thursdays over on Valdrian's channel. 3 p.m. PST, 6 p.m. EST, as we're doing some Girl by Moonlight. I am playing a trans egg. It is a time. He is trying so hard to stay in the closet, and he keeps getting booted out. So that's me. I'll pass it over to how we started. Gena.
Hi, I'm Gena. I've been playing Adestia, who is so good at her job as a ranger. The best. You can find me on this channel, Sword and Key. I am in the Fragments of Loss show. I forgot the word show, I'm so sorry. Which is returning this upcoming week on Sunday. Catch us whenever the schedule says.
Did you just say Fragments of Loss? Because that's the
That
show's
is this
name.
show. I'm like,
Yeah. I
I'm
was like,
tired, y'all.
isn't that Tales
Tales
from the Loop?
Tales from the Loop. They both have an L. This is Lost and that's Loop in my mind. Tales from the Loop. I'm so sorry.
You're good. Passing on over to Mirm.
Okay, I had to make sure I unmute myself. Hi, everybody. My name is Mirm. I use she, they pronouns, and today I've been playing the volcanic tracker Wea, who uses they, them pronouns. And you can catch me on Thursday on the Meadowlark Productions channel on Twitch. We're having our finale for our Star Wars campaign of Sterling Garden. It's gonna be really emotional. We're doing like in between RP in that, and there's a lot of shenaniganery that's gonna be coming to Thursday night's episode. So come and help us raise money for gender alchemy. Hello, son.
Fantastic. Passing on over to Amber.
Hi, my name is Amber, and I use she, they pronouns, and I've been playing Azura, a tile navigator who also uses she, they pronouns. You can find me over on my own channel at twitch.tv/analog_Amber, where I play Baldur's Gate badly and act a lot like my character, but just like as a normal human being, because that's who I am inside.
And outside as well.
Exactly.
Last but not least, our fantastic guest, Abhishek.
Hey everyone, my name is Abhishek Patange. I use he, him pronouns. I've been playing Azir, my Wailing Arcanist, who also uses he, him pronouns. I don't have anything else really going on at the moment. You can pretty much find me here again next week for the next episode of Fragments of Loss. So yeah.
Fantastic. And so, again, I want to thank everybody who's been here tuning in throughout this entire process. I'm going to hand over the reins to Mare, our producer, who's going to give the last little bit of sign off for everything.
Hey, it's me. It's Mare behind the mic. I'm just going to go this thoroughly quick so we can raid and go on with our beautiful evenings. But what we got going over here on Sword and Key headquarters right now is tomorrow we have our only video game on the channel, Gate Night, where Shadow, LD, and Derek do ridiculous shenanigans in Baldur's Gate 3. Also, tomorrow night is the closing of our Pride game applications, which if you want to apply, we have 4 amazing games right now. We have D&D, we have Good Society, we have Devil's Dandy Dogs, and something else. I can't remember what it is, but tomorrow is the last day to apply. That closes at 9 p.m. Pacific. And on Saturday, we have our Horizons call game at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And as Gena already mentioned, on Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific. Yeah, 10 a.m. Pacific, we got episode 3 of the Tales from the Loot game, Signals from Above. And I think that's it. Everybody have a beautiful evening. We are going to go raid Roll D5. So everyone give them some love, and we will see y'all next week. Bye!